And the rain is on. Hello, 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 and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, Sorin's Journey. Today's going to be a little bit of a more chill adventure than the last few. Because with last time we finished off the Sorrow of World quest line, the ultimate weapons have all been defeated. And without any immediate threats to the realm, you know, Sorin's got a bit of time to go and maybe say hello to some old friends. So I'm starting here in Fallgourd Float for the main reason that I was going to start with the next XIV tribe quest. Because I think if I can get that done, then I'll be doing the Shadowbringer's job quests for all the classes Sorin has. And depending on what time there is left, we'll be doing he'll be starting his new job as a gladiator. Well, and paladin. Well, and it'll either be just the gladiator quests, or we'll maybe get the paladin ones in as well. Just depends on kind of what the time is looking like. But for now, let's see what the progress here is. Todorama? Sezo? How are things here? Greetings, Sorin. With the Cerulean engine now integrated, the Desel Kolan is entering the final stages of construction. Not long now. Not long at all. Once this airship is proven skyworthy, the field of aeronautics will never be the same again. There is, however, another favour I would ask of you. Are you familiar with Geralt, the master weaponsmith who resides in Hersmill? I'm loosely familiar with him. We'll have need of his legendary smithing talents if we are to complete our steering mechanism, the helm of the Desel Kolan. Only he can properly combine and align the necessary components. Pray take these materials to Geralt, and request that he aid us in our endeavour. Right. I'll do my best. Oh, hello. I can never remember your name. What is the name of the Easter Round? PT. Good old goobways with no bones in their arms. Geralt, sir? What do you want now? That Jolson bull come calling again, did he? Well, I ain't got the patience for no mystic rubbish today. It feels like a kettle with some bastard trying to pound the dents out of. Pay no mind to Master Geralt, good sir. His temper's as short as his night of carousing was long. Now, what do you have that needs mending? A kettle? A cookpot? Nothing of the sort? Well, actually... Well, if you don't mind dealing with an apprentice, I should be happy to hear the details of your request. If you think it'll work out, when it comes down to it, it's about airship components. Now then, sir, what manner of task has brought you to our humble forge? Well, again, airship stuff. Do you know if you're up for it? Ha! A custom-made helm to fit a new breed of airship. Tricky. I can understand why you would seek Master Geralt's expertise. And though he is first and foremost a forger of weapons, the masterpieces he creates demand a flair for innovation and an eye for even the minutest of details. Now, should he turn his hand to crafting your vessel's helm, then I can promise you that the end result will be of unparalleled quality. As you have witnessed, however, the master's present demeanour falls somewhere short of amenable. Beyond the threat of debt collection, there's little that will convince him to take up his hammer. Are you yourself not an artisan of some skill? Then allow me to suggest that you take a portion of these materials and craft the finest helm spokes you can manage. The sight of such painstaking workmanship should serve to stir the embers of professional curiosity in Master Geralt's soul. Despite his grumbling, he's not one to back down from a challenge. Here, I shall return your materials. Consider the tools of our meager workshop be at your disposal. I suppose I could always try it myself. Let's see. Oh, I've got to make 4 of them. I can probably work this out easy enough. There's 1, and now just 3 more times. Out there. I forgot that there would actually probably be crafting involved. I should probably at some point invest in Sorin's crafting gear because it's a little lackluster at the moment. Yeah, it's still level 25 around. Probably because the only reason he has a crafter is so he can do the XIV tribe quests. Oh, there we go. I should have maybe done the other one. Alright. Mr. Geralt? Oh, thank the gods. That drink demon Smitty stopped using me as an anvil, eh? Still bloody here, are you? Swear to the 7 L's. I was just wondering if you'd mind having a look at this. Just put it together myself. What's this then? Made these while I was trying not to puke on my apron, did you? Fine bit of work. I never pegged you for an artisan. But even with this level of skill, you still felt the need to come to Old Geralt, eh? Well, what I'm trying to work on is pretty important. So, what's the job? You want me to take this handiwork of yours and make a steering mechanism for your flying boat, is that it? That's about the gist of it. Alright, I'll do it. I know that fire in your eyes, and bugger me if I don't respect it. Might be as I'll need some time to get the work done, though. I don't fancy making finicky adjustments until the fog of booze is good and gone. Once I'm satisfied it's ready, though, I'll have the finished parts delivered to your shipyard. Right, well, it's not too far away, at least. You won't have to travel far. Right. Guess just time to report to Tadaramu. Oh. Tadaramu, is everything okay? Oh, Sorin, you're back. Master Geralt agreed to the task? Excellent, excellent. I can think of no other major barriers preventing us from completing the Desil Golan. Sounds great. What's... an airship? An airship? It's not an XIV one. All blades stand ready to begin the extraction. Spare no mercy for these feathered savages. What's going on? This doesn't look great. Scott, who comes barging into Cecil's camp? Remember inviting armed thugs to launch? Cecil does not. Save your indignation, beastman. You'll roast for kidnapping Master Tataramu. Kidnapping? See you any shackles around his ankles? Free as a bird, Tataramu is. How did you even find me here? And how many times must I tell you to leave me be? Enough of this petulant nonsense, Tataramu. Father? Father? Ah, chief of Highwind Skyway's clan you must be. This... maybe we should have seen this coming. This is the workshop for which you've caused so much fuss? There are no proper tools, no materials. Why, it barely qualifies as a dumping ground for our factory's refuse. What is it you wish to do, boy? If you want to tinker with airships, the company has them in abundance. I'll have Coulson arrange for one of those new Garland Ironworks models to be docked in a spare hangar. No, father, you don't understand. This is not some game or idle pursuit. Scott, call my campground for dumping refuse, do you? Shove cerulean hose up chairman's backside, Cecil would. If already there, broomstick wasn't. What foul company you've been keeping. These birdmen have obviously deceived you. Do you honestly believe such brutish creatures capable of building a functional airship? You were the one guilty of deceit. And the XIV are the reason we were able to take to the skies in the first place. Why do you insist on hiding the truth? Are you so afraid of damaging the company's reputation? Or are you simply too proud to admit that we borrowed the knowledge of beastman savages? Fear and pride can only weigh us down. Only by casting aside such ballast can we truly reach the heights of which we are capable. I'll not stand here and be lectured by my own child. Cease this impudence at once. Sir, we really must be away. There are those 2 items of business in Lim's Laminsa that require your attention, followed by a dinner engagement with Councillor Thurston at the Coral Tower. Yes, we're almost done here. Bring my son. If he decides to struggle, there's no need to be overly gentle. A small dose of discipline will do him good. Should I... Father, you cannot do this! Please, listen to me! Probably wouldn't be too difficult to fight them, but... On Tataramu you will not! Stab you first with feathers, then pluck you, then roast you, Cecil will! I don't want this to turn into an incident. If they have connections with the ironworks, maybe I can put in some words there. Sizzle? Scar! Gone, Tataramu is! Taken! Strangled and stomped on his dreams were! For first time in Cecil's life, wish to harm frivolous one, Cecil does. Share with them secrets of balloons, and now they think they own skies, they do. Dizzle Qualan stays grounded. Integrate final components we cannot. Patience now. Wait and hope for Tataramu's return we must. Occupy ourselves with crafting needed parts. But if Chairman sets foot into Ectal 9's camp again, stuff in the sack and beat bloody with tree branch, Cecil will. Right. Oh, hello, Minnie. Sorry for not seeing you sooner. Welcome to the stream. Oh, excuse me. Thanks to your diligent efforts, the Dezel Quillan now has a functional steering mechanism. Continue assisting the Ectol 9 to see the airship hybrid reach completion. Oh, that's the next XL one done. Rank 5. I think there's still like 2 more quests in the XL one. I know it definitely goes on longer than the... These little pet wolves. But now that that's done, it is going to be on to the job quests. And yeah, you can start from the top. I can use return. Save myself some... some gil. Not that I'm all that... not that Sorin's all that short on money. So, Marauders Guild. Still feels oddly enough as where the Scholar is. It's been a while since I've checked in here. Alka-Zolka? It's been a while. Oh, if it isn't Sorin, in the flesh! It has been quite some time, hasn't it? It certainly has. How have you been? Ah. Rashat keeps me apprised of any tales of your heroism that reach her ears, and I must say, you never fail to inspire me to reach for greater martial and tactical heights. I have thus been seizing upon every opportunity to hone my skills, be it through employment or study. In fact, I have an appointment with Cerrito Carito shortly to review mariner stratagems for securing furways and byways. Would you care to join me? Oh, of course. Wouldn't mind saying hello again? Ah, excellent. It will be a pleasure to train alongside you again. I shall meet you at Camp Bronze Lake. Cerrito Carito awaits us there. Right. You don't think you did this quest for your mail? Oh, you Scholar is your healer job? Yeah, I think this one's quite nice because if this is the one I remember correctly, it's a nice conclusion to all the Scholar quests. This is where we normally meet. Cerrito? Hello again. My, what a pleasant surprise. I was unaware that you'd be joining us today. Well, it was a bit unexpected myself. Heavens! Is that Sorin I spy? Oh, Satoto. After trying every healer. You tried 3 out of 4 of them. Yeah, no, Sage I think is kind of quite probably my favorite as well. Satoto, a true pleasure to see you. Have you come for the exercises as well? Of course. It may have been well over a millennium ago that I began my studies. I am still a student with much to learn. Though I am somewhat hampered by the small matter that is my inability to summon a fairy whilst trapped in this grotesque form. You are hardly grotesque, my lady, and I'm confident that there is some way you might once again call forth a fairy. We need only find a way to tap the Royal Marine spirit within you, come hells or high water. Let us hope you're right. So, healing's a lot more fun when you can shoot things with lasers at the same time. Excuse me? Oh, doubt not that he is. But first, given how rare this opportunity is, might I suggest that we begin by asking Sorin to regale us with tales of his recent endeavours? There is much we might learn from them. Right, well, I've certainly have some tales. Alka being a real one, like it. Yep, he knows how to look inwards. Which? I feel Lamet's journey is maybe a bit more of kind of a scholarly story. Like her and it's kind of, I feel, a little similar to like what happened in, I think, these Stormblood scholar quests. Like going into Amdapor to try and find. Yeah, I think Lamet's journey. There's one tale in particular. It's not mine, but one definitely worth telling. Lamet, she... and then Giot? I'm so proud of them. Lamet strived to save her sister, no matter what it cost her. It reminds me of my father. Oh, I can scarce believe you traveled to another world entirely. Were it anyone else, I would doubt the veracity of their words. But I could only envy you. You must have gained much insight into the nature of our own star. Well, you could certainly say that. The concept of Stoneblight fascinates me. Highly contagious, transforms the body. I cannot but draw parallels between it and the Nimian plague. What were you able to discern about the magic utilized in curing it? Well... Perhaps the application of a high concentration of ether. But how? Might crystals serve to amplify? Assuming so... Pseudo? It may work. The similarities of Stoneblight to our own affliction. This may well be the key to a cure for the Nimian plague. You mean to say that my body and my ability to cast healing magic could be restored? Precisely. It will be a complex process involving trial and error, of course. But I assume you're interested nevertheless. If there's a chance for a cure... Very good. Your assistance will hasten the process considerably. Setoto, I would have your aid in preparing the experimental compound. We will require instruments that allow for a high degree of precision. Alka-Zolka, you must consult an expert goldsmith to procure suitable supplies. I believe we might make use of revival root as well, though I know of no better source of it than the aged treants of snake malt. It will be something of a walk, I realize, but can I entrust this task to you? Of course. I've attuned to the Aether right there, so it's not too difficult to travel. A challenge befitting the Royal Marines, and to it we shall rise. Oh boy. Excuse me. It is a yawny day for me today. Right, off to Camp Tranquil. Never thought Lamet's story might have this... give us the clue we need to cure this plague. Maybe it's a little early to be getting optimistic, but you hope this is a habit. Well, you'll just have to wait and see. Right, so looking for Treant. There it is. Oh, I forget this is an enemy that actually has scaled to ooh. Right. Maybe I should bring out Eos just in case. Let's go. A little more. There we go. There's the root. Now just to see if Alcazolka finished his side of things. Cerrito? Were you able to procure the root? I believe so. This is the right one, right? Ah, thank you. I expect this will be sufficiently potent. Now we only need to await Alcazolka's return and... Alka? You okay? Apologies, I've only just escaped. I am acquainted with a goldsmith of some repute, and he agreed to fashion the instruments in return for my massaging him with salamander oil. Again. Alka, you don't happen to be acquainted with... Never mind, I'm gonna... However, the goods themselves should be more than adequate. I'm just gonna ignore that train of thought. Ah, they're a bit oily, but presumably that will come off. In which case we can prepare the compound at any time. However, the matter of what follows is problematic. Cerrito? Problematic? In what sense? Though I am fairly confident in my theory, the experimental compound is just that. Experimental. I did state before that this process would involve trial and error. As the Nimian plague does not affect beasts, to test it on any but a tonberry is impossible. Yet, as its ingestion will result in disruption to the body's ethereal balance, there is a possibility that the subject may find himself worse off than before. And I have no intention of inflicting such a fate on any of my brethren, naturally. And so, should I be warped beyond recognition as a result, the task of destroying me will fall to you. Cerrito, you don't mean... You cannot honestly believe we would agree to that. There has to be another way, right? What if you were to test it on me instead? Absolutely not! You heard what he said. The test subject might very well become a monster. I am prepared to take the risk. Well, I'm not prepared to let you. So you would rather Cerrito Carito do it? If the test does fail and he becomes some sort of abomination, it would remain to continue researching the cure. It follows that I ought to be the subject. and I'm supposed to accept that. It's not your choice to make. Oh, please, calm yourselves. The admixture will take some time to prepare in any case. We can discuss this later, when we've all had the opportunity to think. Pretty dramatic with the rain. Yeah, I was thinking the rain and the lightning started at just the right time there. Fine. I will do my thinking elsewhere, if it's all the same to you. I had hoped everyone would be amenable, but I suppose life is rarely so simple. Alka? I don't understand. I'm merely trying to prevent her from placing herself in harm's way. I believe you too would be well served by a reprieve. Perhaps a bit of exercise. Alka... Yeah, maybe we should... If you insist. This would be a far sight easier if they were honest with one another. As you doubtless are aware, Satoto is quite enamored of Alka Zolka. She seems disinclined to pursue the matter, however, her current condition being what it is. I feel like this could be a parallel to plastics. Could it be? Though she raised a salient point, I would not have her volunteer if her primary goal is to remove that perceived obstacle. For Alka Zolka to be forced to slay her only to later learn what it was all for, it doesn't bear thinking about. Might you go and speak with her? I expect that she is fuming somewhere in Outer Lenosia. She has a tendency to wander when she's distressed. Right. I'll see if I can find her. So she's... Maybe you missed some... Oh, yeah, I just don't know if it's quite... Like, comparing it... I don't quite know if comparing it to plastic surgery is the same thing, given that it's a... It's the result of an actual plague that affected them all. It's like it's the consequence of a disease, and it's not entirely. What's the word? It's not entirely just a aesthetic change, if I understand, because they do have that problem of rancor, which is why the Wanderer's Palace had to seal itself off. Satoto? Are you... I apologize for my earlier conduct. I have no intention of changing my mind, though. My logic is sound. I'm not questioning your logic, Satoto, but... Is that logic the reason why you're doing this? Are they... I see. Since it's come to this... Yes. I'm in love with Alka Zolka. Maybe... were things different, I could be content with that. If we might walk hand in hand, without drawing the attention of every would-be hero within 10 moms. If my compatriots were just as free to pursue their own happiness. As it is, however, his insistence upon protecting me above all else, it chafes. I am no fool. I know that others, Alka-Zolka included, are stronger than I, and I am not so proud as to refuse aid on principle. But it's not enough to merely live insulated from harm. I've always wanted to help people. Now more than ever, knowing firsthand the terrible toll this blight takes on all of us. It is not simply my own desires that make me so adamant. Truthfully, there is no more suitable subject on whom the cure might be tested. I had not yet seen 20 summers when I was afflicted, so if it has unanticipated effects, my body will be best able to bear them. Moreover, I was one of the last to fall to the plague before we entered our lengthy slumber, meaning my illness is less advanced. If this potential cure shows results, they will present in me most quickly. To say that the thought it could fail does not frighten me would be a lie, yet if there is a means by which I might save my people from suffering, I cannot ignore it. You followed the path of the scholar. You understand, don't you? Yeah. Can't say I don't. Thank you. Talking this through with you has helped clear my head, I believe. I'm ready to speak with the others. Yeah, when protecting becomes smothering. Sometimes you need to let those you love take risks. I think that's one of the things about if you love someone, you don't stop them taking risks. But you're there to help them through whatever the consequences might be. Alka? There. I finished running through Sergeant Tolga's 1,000-step training regimen. In this river? Sometimes they gotta get hurt, so they learn. That wasn't quite the angle I was going at it from, but not entirely wrong. Ah, you've returned. How are you feeling? More confident than ever. You must test a cure on me. Alka, please. I'm not making this decision in haste, nor do I take it lightly. Truth be told, I'm terrified. But I need to do this. Sorin agreed. It must be me. She's right, Alka. And this is her choice to make. Yes. I must admit your reasoning is sound. I appreciate that you worry for me, Alka. It means more than you know. But this is my duty. My battle to fight. You can trust me to meet this foe with all I have. I vow not to quit the field until the bitter end. But if the time comes when I am no longer myself, I need to know that my fate is in good hands. In your hands. Fine. It's been years since I have seen Finding Nemo. Oh, that is... There's a lot of movies I haven't seen in a long, long time. It's something I'm kind of... I don't... It just kind of feels like the reflection of the water on Alcazalca's face and on Satoto. I don't know why I've just kind of been noticing it and just kind of... It's nice that it's there. As you wish. I will be at your side, as any true mariner would. But know that I fully expect you to seize victory. Come hells or high water. I will. Thank you, Alka. Very well. If the both of you are resolved, I will abide by Satoto's decision. But before we begin, I must explain how the process is meant to work. First, Satoto will drink the compound I devised. This should destabilize the ethereal composition of her body. Once she has done so, Alcazalca, you must stand at the ready with this. The gemstone retrieved from Amdapor. It shall serve as a focus. Can't wait to see how it looks on PS4. Yeah, I'm quite interested to see the graphical update. Sorin and Lily will channel their restorative magic through the focus, amplifying it. In theory, being exposed to a sufficient volume of curative ether will encourage Satoto's own ether to attune to it, and set itself to rights. It's kind of... we're creating a natural regeneration. Right. Lily? Dios? You ready? If all are clear on what must be done, let us commence. It burns! It burns! Satoto? Sorin! Lily! Now! Right. Please work. Fight it, Satoto! Ah! Is it Satoto? It worked. Oh. Yep. You are truly radiant, Satoto. Inside and out. I feel the breeze on my skin. Oh, it's wonderful. One of the very few hugs in the game. Indeed. It's always nice to see a good hug. I was nearly certain that it would work, but to see the results is another matter entirely. I can scarce believe my eyes. What to think, after all this time, the endless research, we have a cure for the Nemean plague. That Cerrito Carito even managed to devise such a thing is remarkable enough, but to see it succeed... Without Sorin's skill as a scholar, it never would have been possible. And Satoto, your kindness, your conviction, your strength of spirit. It inspires me to train with even greater fervor. Alka? That is so like him. And he's still utterly oblivious to my feelings, I'm sure. It's alright, though. I never truly expected to have another chance at the life I once envisioned for myself. And now that I do, I intend to enjoy it. There's no need to rush through all the best parts. That goes for my vocation as well. I intend to relearn the scholarly arts, starting from the basics. And with my etheric balance restored, I should be able to summon Lilac properly. Someday, we will be the salvation of those in need. I swear it. For the moment, however, I have much training to do if I am to be fit for the Royal Marines. To that end, I'm off to find Alka. Stay safe out there, Satoto. So it actually worked. I guess I know what your next steps are then, Cerrito. Having labored for so long, so fruitlessly, and then to see the cure realized at last, I find myself at a loss for words. I will need to monitor Satoto's condition for a time, of course. Lest there be adverse effects that were not readily apparent. But this is progress. Astounding progress. Toward the day when we might see all Tomberries restored to their former selves. In the meanwhile, inexperienced in matters of the heart though they are, you needn't worry over much for those two. I have confidence that they will sort themselves out in due time. Fare you well, in whatever worlds your travels lead you to. And thank you. Off he goes. Yep, there it is. That's the kind of the scholar finale. I do like how kind of like consistent this scholar story is. You think like this romance more than the Warrior Questline one? Yeah, the Warrior one's good for kind of it's got the comedy side of it down. I think it kind of helps that it's a bit more it's a bit more sincere, I suppose, in the Scholar. Yeah, I do like that it's the problem of the Nimian Plague is kind of the consistent thread between all of the Scholar quests. It doesn't kind of have like several different little stories. So next up is off to Ishgard. Retracing Sorin's steps. Wonder how everyone's getting on at the Astrologium. Or what's it called? The Astrologicum. There it is. There. Yeah, that's always the end of Tonberries in Eorzea. Now that the cure's been sorted. Nope, she's not around. Jana Knart? It's certainly been a while, hasn't it? Oh, Sorin, you always seem to know the precise moment at which your services are required. That's such just a mark of an accomplished astrologian, if I do say so myself. Dark Knight had one of the best post-Shadowbringers. I can't really remember Dark Knights. Which would, of course, imply you are already aware of what I would ask of you. Yet I shall indulge you of my request nonetheless. It is Master Rufin. Following our return from Gugane, she has been distant. Well, more distant than usual. Enough to give one pause, at least. I thought I might ascertain the source of her worriment with the deck of 60, but was presented the usual slumgullion of vague portents and portentous vagaries. By the time I unwrapped my throbbing head from the spread, all I could discern was something about a dark wind blowing from the east. I suppose this could imply any number of things. Ill tidings from our allies in Doma, a rainstorm brewing over the Black Shroud, a fire at that fine patisserie near the Ark of the Venerable. Why, I suppose even you could be the dark wind. No, right. Let us simply say I am worried about our companion, but I'm at a loss as to how I might help her. Leveva has been spending much of her days up at the last vigil, staring blankly out over the sea of clouds. I've attempted speaking with her, but the lady is about as receptive to my concerns as one might expect. Perhaps, though, she would prove more forthcoming with her star pupil. Well, I can certainly go and say hello again. There's always something, isn't there? I stopped by to say hello anyway. If any of my friends are in trouble, can't exactly say I don't want to help. It will never work. I was a fool to think. Oh, Sorin. Just the man I wanted to see. Might you remember our good friend? Might you remember Kyokoho? Lanky fellow, disheveled hair, somewhat capable in the geomantic arts. Well, it appears his travels will be bringing him once again to Ishgard. Wait, Kyokoho's coming back? Seeing as he has provided me with a wealth of valuable insight into his discipline, the least I could do would be to greet him upon his arrival. Unfortunately, I must see to some unfinished affairs near the architects. Would it be too much to ask you to visit the Aephorite Plaza in my stead? I shall catch up to both of you later at the Athenium Astrologicum. Right, of course. It's just going and greeting Kyokoho. I wasn't expecting to get the chance to say hello to him again. Kyokoho! Oh, Sorin! Imagine us meeting here! Could it be fate? I jest. How have you been? Slow... What am I saying to him? Oh, slow down, friend. I've only just arrived in Ishgard, and already you're recruiting me to some urgent cause. You Westlanders certainly don't waste your time. I intended this to be but a short visit to discuss how matters have progressed since you vanquished Kinko, and aided me in restoring my grandfather's wards. However, I suppose all that can wait. To the Athenium, then. Right. Glad to hear it doesn't sound like there's been any problems with the ward since then. So I guess that means Kugane is still safe enough for now. It is good to see you again too, Janet Kennard. Sorin tells me all is not well with Lady Levava. So I see someone has wasted a little time in informing every rat in the broom of matters that I thought it obvious were of a more personal nature. Oh, save the drama for the stage, my friend. Sorin merely recognized that the intimate connection Lady Levava and I forged in Kugane made me the perfect candidate for discerning what might be weighing oh so heavily on her soul. Huh. And how do you propose to do that? Do it. I've already done it. Lady Lavava's in love. But of course she is... Wait, what? Her arch enemy defeated, her father's memory honored, and a city saved. Lady Lavava has conquered the countless peaks that rose before her with an air of aplomb that would belie her mere 16 summers. I forget that she's only 16 years old. And now, bereft of purpose, she has turned her eyes to companionship to fill the void that lies agape in her heart. And I believe I can help. Sorin, might you know the lonely lady's current whereabouts? She said something about the architects. Those massive stone effigies to raw masculinity. Oh, it is worse than I thought. We must make haste. Janakar, do you have... But don't tell me you take that addle-pated moon boy seriously. Lady Lavava, in love? What a ridiculous notion. Unless... If she is smitten with some unknown individual, and I am by no means implying that she is, it is my duty as friend of her father to determine if the cur is worthy of Lady Lavava's attention. Right. I think I might wait to hear it from her herself. That assumption she's... Yeah, well... That's the kind of conclusion I think Kyokoho would jump to. Or maybe the one that he wants to jump to. Kyokoho, I don't really think that post is hiding you as much as you think it is. Look, there she is. I can see that. So why are we here and, you know, not talking to her? I was afraid you might ask that. What do you think we should do? We could just ask her what's wrong. I'm but a humble student of the geomantic arts. I have little understanding when it comes to matters of the heart. And what, pray tell, are you two doing here? Greetings and salutations, my dearest Lavava. Aren't you looking most resplendent this fine morning? Resplendent. Spent a few bells in the books, have we? Time will tell if this new vocabulary suits you, but time is not a luxury I am afforded at the moment. The city's din is positively deafening. It stifles my thoughts and upsets my humours. What I require is clarity, something unattainable within these stone walls. The quiet of Camp Dragonhead, however, may provide me with a moment's respite. Of course. Oh, and you may cease with this ridiculous talk of matters of the heart. Love is the furthest of my worries. I, for one, am already promised to another. Wait. She is? Already promised? How is that even? Kyokoho, judging from your clear disappointment, should I assume that... Oh, Janet Kennard. Ah, Kyokoho, there's no need to kneel in my presence. Did I miss anything? Not too much, I suppose. A little bit of a surprise, but see. It comes as a little surprise that one of her social standing would be betrothed at such a young age. Such is the custom among older houses, even in a city as progressive as Charlian, and she hails from one of the oldest. I suppose it's just that... Kyokoho, we've heard of vim and vigor for our conversation earlier, and all this upon learning Lady Lavavra is to be married. A more astute observant might presume a certain emotional attachment to our young protege. But that would be ludicrous. I for one know that good Kyokoho's feelings toward Lavavra are naught but those of admiration for her skill at the astromantic arts. So let us return to the task at hand. We still do not know what is weighing down on the lady's fragile heart. I think she's stronger than you give her credit for, Janikinard. And what better way to find out than to ask? A novel idea, don't you think? Asking someone what is troubling them rather than assuming, without having actually spoken with them, or even seen them for some time, that they're simply longing for amorous relations. Janikinard, for once you're actually talking a lot of sense. Wonderful. Kyokoho and I shall return to the Athenium, where I will make certain he refrains from idle meddlement in any of our lives. Yep, I can agree. Probably just asking her is the simplest way to get an answer. Hey, what a novel idea it is to just ask someone how they're feeling instead of assuming what they're feeling. It can be awkward in the short term, but it can save so much confusion and awkwardness later. That as persistent as ever. Fine. You've seen through my ruse. I am not, in fact, promised to another. I simply implied as much to silence Kyokoho. Well, it certainly worked. Alright, there was a time I was promised to another. We have my grandfather to thank for that. However, since I am now officially deceased, my assumption is that the arrangement will have been annulled. You got to do that. I still need to do it for any of my characters. Not that I shall even bother to actually confirm this assumption. Well, I think it's safe to assume that if you are dead, yeah, it would be annulled. But if not that, what is bothering you? What is troubling me? It was not my intention to involve you or Janikinard, or even Kyokoho in such matters. However, the discord my silence has sown perhaps warrants an explanation. Despite repeated efforts following our recent achievements in Kugane, I have been unable to conceive feasible methods of blending the teachings of Charlian astrology and those of Far Eastern geomancy. As Kyokoho explained, unlike astrologians who look to the stars above to read their fates, geomancers look to the star below and listen to its songs, and draw their answers from its whispers. Yet, try as I might, I remain impotent in tapping the land's presence. I've spent my life attuning to slight variations in the ether of distant stars. So much so that when I look to Heidelin in her ether, I'm overwhelmed by its potency. Its glow, you could say. Think of it as trying to open one of the heaven's gates in a world of everlasting daylight. Funny you should mention that. I've got a maybe I've got a story that could help you out. You've visited such a place. My readings were accurate. Exactly where have your adventures taken you, Sorin? Well, it's a bit of a long story. I do remember I think that was that moment kind of got a good chuckle out of me the first time I saw that dialogue option. Just the about that whole world of everlasting light thing. And you had no trouble channeling the ether from that world's heavens, despite the fact you never once physically laid eyes upon them. Intriguing. But I am a woman of reason, and shall require more than the word of another, no matter how close, to convince me of this phenomenon. A first-hand demonstration, however, might suffice. A single aspected benefit, perhaps. If you think that would be enough. How's that? Your faculty for fairly conversing with celestial bodies both far and near is peerless. A most eloquent display, and one I should endeavour to learn from. I have committed the most grievous of sins by allowing things such as light, distance, and dimension, things that hold no dominion over the realm ethereal, to prevent me from unbinding my full potential. You, however, helped me realize the error in my ways. I believe now I might continue my studies. Just not here. I am unsure why I thought this would be a suitable location to ponder my predicament in the first place. Perhaps it was the memories of our first lesson here. Let us hurry back to defeat him, lest we catch cold. Right. That was where we had our... when I first started studying astrology, wasn't it? Back when Alphino Totaro and I first arrived here in Ishgard. Already feels like an age ago now. So has the misunderstanding been cleared up? Foremost, I believe I owe you both an apology. Or at least I owe you one, Janakonat. That's for you, Kyokoho. How did you arrive at the ridiculous notion that I was somehow languishing in the throes of love? Well, when Sorin and Janakonat mentioned you were not yourself after returning from Kugane, I simply assumed that... But do you dare suggest that we had any hand in this, Kyokoho? You were not a quarter bell in the pillars before you were telling anyone who would listen about before you were telling anyone who would listen about the cavernous maw that yawned in the heart of poor lonely Master Rufin, and how you were to fill it. Lonely? I'm far from lonely. In fact, I've already promised my heart to another. Of course, already promised to a... Oh, wait, what? You heard me, and I've never spoken a truer word. Whoever could it be? It is certainly not Sorin or, heavens forfend, Kyoko. I thought it might be something like that. Why? Astrology, of course. Can't say I'm too surprised. She just murdered that man. What? Who did you expect? Quimperin? Of anyone involved in her storyline, I imagine Quimperin would probably be the person she'd be most attracted to. I suppose you're wondering what brought me to Ishgard in the first place. It most certainly wasn't to ruffle Master Rufin's feathers, though it seems I have succeeded in that nonetheless. Our triumph over Kenko having restored the people of Kugani's faith in geomancy, it was not long before a gaggle of eager mages were clamoring at my door, seeking guidance in the art of wind and water. To accommodate, I transformed my grandfather's study into a place where I might train those who are willing to invest the time and effort necessary to become masters. Which reminds me, my students are likely wondering where their sensei is. Farewell, Sorin. You came all the way to Ishgard just to... So he came to tell us of his new skill of geomancy. Did we not give him a link pearl? At any rate, allow me to thank you once again for the inspiration you provided. Despite being your mentor in matters astrological, I find myself consistently in your debt when it comes to, well, everything else. You are a true friend and confidant, Sorin. Just glad to be of help. And as always, she has once again failed to acknowledge that it was I who first noticed her change in mood, and that it was my reading that predicted your arrival, and that it was my good judgment that eventually pointed you in her direction. But such is my destiny, I suppose. I am simply happy that Lady Lavava is back to her normal self. If aught were to befall her, Rufin would haunt me till the 8th Umbral era. That... Maybe I shouldn't say just how close the world was to the 8th Umbral calamity. Thank you again, Sorin. I would say we make a fine team, but considering you covered a cool share of the footwork, I will refrain from any further analogies of a sporting nature. He's got that self-awareness that he's not the main character. Wait, is there... Oh yeah, they don't show up here, I forget that. It's been... Is why am I forgetting everyone's names? Sorin and Arya, is it? Arya's not your mentor, but she's... I think it's funny when they acknowledge her main character. Yeah. Especially characters who kind of like are... Like, Janakar is normally a bit full of himself. So it's kind of, you know, a little nice to see he's got the character development enough to acknowledge it. Yeah, that's... I don't actually end up doing much, it's mostly you. Arya? It's been a while. How's your training getting along? Sorin, I was about to go looking for you. I've had a letter from Sorin, and he's asked me to pass on a message. Oh. Arya, I hope this missive finds you well. Should you come across Sorin in Revenant's Hall, pray send him to me in the Alamegan Quarter. I have need of his help. What could be happening in Alamigo, I wonder? Well, I suppose there's one sure way to find out. Let's go. Alamigo was the home of the Crimson Duelists, wasn't it? Stormblood. I'm fairly certain. I can't remember where it is, but I'm fairly certain there's a. I think there's a cutscene somewhere in Stormblood where Zarun's kind of in the background. Zarun? It's been a while. Ah, how wonderful to see my two erstwhile students. And not a moment too soon. We're glad to see you too, Sorin. Though I gather the situation is not a happy one. You gather correctly. You'll recall the brotherhood I was once part of? The Crimson Duelists? Well, it seems the keepsakes left behind by my deceased colleagues have run afoul of some enterprising grave robbers. That's a lot of... Yeah, it's a gathering of red mages. I'm fairly certain there is some cutscene. I remember it happening, but I can't remember where it happens. But I know, like, kind of like he was, like, part of his, like, the initial quest line is you kind of learn he is invested in the liberation of Alamigo. Grave robbers, you want to get it back? When the duelists met their end some 2 decades past, I was too deeply engaged in my own battles to give them the burial they deserved. And so I did what many before me have done. I collected the blades of the dead and interred them within the tomb of the errant sword. With Alamigo much settled since the initial reclamation of the city, I judged it time to pay respects to my fallen comrades. That is when I discovered the tomb in disarray, and one of the duelist's swords missing. It would seem that such petty acts of larceny have become common of late, and although the resistance speaks of taking steps, the army has its hands full overseeing the restoration efforts. But it's said that unrest and dissent have largely disappeared under General Alden's command. Why this sudden rash of law-breaking? Well, now that the Imperials have been beaten back, those who once suckled from the Empire's teat are forced to look elsewhere for the wealth to which they are accustomed. For some, this means taking up a life of banditry. And for the lowest among them, it means ransacking the resting places of their countrymen. A crime I do not intend to leave unpunished. As things stand, however, I have yet to deliver said judgment. This particular gang is uncommonly swift of foot, and I must temper my attacks lest I slay them ere learning the location of their stashed loot. Thus do I turn to you for assistance. Capturing these thieves alive will be far easier with an extra pair of hands. Well, if you're asking for help, you've got it. If it's extra hands you need, then count me in. Without red magic at your beck and call? Nay, it's too dangerous for one still relearning her art. I've been practicing against the creatures of Mordona ever since we parted ways. My magics may not be what they once were, but I can cast the initiate spells well enough, I promise. monsters in Mordona are not to be trifled with. That was a risky path to take at this stage of your training. I took risks, yes, but not foolhardy ones. If I don't push myself to my limits, then I'll never catch up to you or Sorin. I wager you'll not take no for an answer. Very well. But you do not leave my side, understand? Yes. Thank you, Sorin. You won't regret this. The three of us, then. Bloodhow is where those grave robbers ply their unsavory trade, and the edge of the graveyard is where we shall meet. Alright. I'll see you there. Don't know if this fog is going to be helpful or a hindrance, though. Might let us get the drop on these grave robbers, but if they are, as Sorin put it, fleet of foot, it'd be easy to lose track of them. Excuse me. Sorin? I'd like to simply snatch up these grave robbers, but they have proven an infuriatingly slippery foe. A foe who now knows my face. Which is why you, Sorin, must play the role of deceiver. Search the graveyard until you find the thieves in question. Then convince them it is in their best interests to slink over here to the east. Once the scoundrels are too close to escape, Arya and I will spring our trap. Right. Get them caught between us. Simple enough plan, I guess. Is that? That looks a little suspicious. Hello there. You're looking for trouble, mate? How big a fool do you have to be just to wander up to a gang like this? Look, I'm not going to question why you're here, but just thought you might be interested in knowing there's a resistance patrol coming in from the west. You might want to get moving. The east seems clear enough. Soldiers, is it? We'd best be moving on. Thanks for the warning, friend. Oh, not that we doubt your word or anything, but you'd best come with us. All to show a good faith among thieves. We'll be waiting just up ahead. Don't worry, I'll be right along. What is with that? With the emphasis on friend? I assume just because they don't trust you. Don't you worry about our two mates. They went ahead to the east, just like you suggested. And us? Well, someone's got to eliminate the competition. I'm not a... well, if I was giving them that advice, of course they'd come to that misunderstanding. Ow! No. Ah. Pretty tough for grave robbers. See why Sorin hasn't been able to catch them himself. Oh, there's the other two. Sorry, Sorin. Little bit of a hiccup. Nicely done, Sorin. We caught these two completely off guard. And I must say, Arya, you exceeded my expectations. You've made impressive progress in such a short length of time. Yep, and you know what? At least where they died in a graveyard. It works out easy enough. Yes, I knew those lessons at the mage guilds were worth it, even if it was painful to begin at the beginning again. Oh, I see you've been cracking open as many books as you have monster skulls. Your dedication to the fundamentals has certainly paid off. Now, I counted 4 brigands the last time I was here. Knowing what I do with such villains, I assumed the other two sought to waylay you. Yet you stand here with scarce a hair out of place. All jesting aside, I suspect your skills have surpassed my own. What trials must you have endured to forge such strength? Well... I suppose I can trust you two with the story. As long as you believe me. Another star. Even your adventures play out on a stage beyond my wildest imaginings. And this talk of Sin Eaters, was it? Sounds to me as if your battles took place on the edge of suffering itself, where the heart and steel of even the mightiest red mage would be tested. But whilst it is endlessly gratifying to hear the exploits of one's former student, I suppose we should return to the matter at hand. Once we had subdued these ruffians here, a few threats gleaned as to the location of their ill-gotten gains. All buried in a box in the royal hunting grounds. Or so they claim. I believe another division of labour is in order. Arya, pray hand our captives over to the resistance, then wait for us at the Tomb of the Errant Sword. Sorin, you and I have some digging to do. Right. Well... Guess I'll be seeing you again soon, Arya. Go ahead, Sorin. I have things under control here. When it comes to Magecraft, though, I feel like for every 3 steps I take, you've already taken another 10 or 20. Well, life's kind of been... not giving me much choice but to improve. Can I fly? Yeah, I should be able to get over these mountains. This is the location. So a box buried somewhere here. Sorin? You feel that? The ground. It's soft. Certainly not as packed down as elsewhere. I think we found our cache. Oh, found it already. Who's sending me a tell? Or there's not an update or like maintenance due. Is there? Whew. It doesn't feel like the right time for maintenance to start. Glad I am to have found this before they hauled it off to the black market. I cracked the lid to check the contents. The box is indeed filled with stolen goods, including one rather familiar sword. Come, we should return these articles to the tomb. With any luck, Harrier will have arrived already. Right. Tomb of the Errant Sword, that's... Okay, that over... Just on the edge of the graveyard. Arya, you got everything sorted okay? Oh, thank goodness you found a sword. I feared it had been sold. Right, let us return these relics to their rightful places. Right. So where do these... Are we not entering this one? Sorin? You don't get sick later, your immune system realizes there was something going on, Minnie? That should be the last of them. Are we not... But what of your comrade's blade? Ah, well. Would you indulge me in a moment of nostalgia? Her niece is here and she's been coughing all... Oh. The man who wielded this sword suffered from shallow reserves of ether. And so he commissioned a weapon capable of channeling his energies in the most efficient manner. As you might imagine, the custom blade thus forged cost him a small fortune in coin. We would taunt him in his empty purse without mercy, of course, challenging him to become a mage worthy of such priceless steel. His reply to our jeering comments would always stay with me. Even should I fail to do this steel justice, it will remain long after I have perished. A kindred soul shall take up the sword, and then you shall see my coin was wisely spent. His hopes for such a legacy died of the Crimson Duelists. I entombed the blade, believing that no new mage would rise to claim it. But I was wrong. You two stand here as living proof that our efforts to revive red magic were not in vain. And I happen to know you've got another student out there who's doing well for herself as well. It was when I discovered the sword missing that I was put in mind again of my comrade's words. And I wonder if he did not orchestrate this affair from beyond the grave, if only to remind me of his will. Sorin, you appear to have a distinct taste in weapons. This blade, I think, should belong to Arya. I have no complaints about that. I'm not even your student right now. I don't think I deserve to have it. I made a promise to you, did I not? That once you learn to harness your ether, I would take you under my tutelage once more. The way I see it, you have more than upheld your end of the bargain. Accept the sword, Arya. Be my apprentice, and help me usher in a new future for the Red. You've earned this one, Arya. I will. If you would offer to accept me as your student once more, then let this be my answer. It is done. Let us present here this day swear a new oath. To fight for the common good with pure heart and unbending steel. Oh, sounds like it's getting... Oh. I hope it doesn't get too bad. Look, I've already hung it from my belt. This sword's heavier than my old one, but I mean to practice enough that having it there feels more comfort than a burden. And so concludes our business here. But as much as I should like to accompany you back to Mordona, I fear my own pilgrimage must continue. This war with the Imperials has Alamigo teetering on the brink of uncertainty once more. And I must assume the situation is most taxing for you and your fellow scions. Thus, for the time being, shall I keep my blade loose in its sheath. I may be but one man, but know that I shall remain vigilant against the Empire's machinations, as I chart my course across the lands of Eorzea. I am sorry that I cannot yet devote myself to your lessons, Arya. The demands of the road are such that I cannot take you with me, and still hope to move as quickly. Your oath takes precedence, of course. I'm ecstatic just to know you'll be my mentor once again. Please, stay safe on your travels. I appreciate your understanding, and I will stop by to aid your progress in Revenant's Toll whenever circumstances permit. Well, I take my leave then. Very well, Sorin. When next we meet, I expect your scarlet hue shall be ever the more vivid. Shall we make our way back to Mordona then? Suppose there's nowhere better for a goodbye. Back to our old base of operations. I've been so consumed with restoring my magics, but now I have a new goal. Learning to wield my new sword with perfect execution. With Sorin's instruction, I mean to become a red mage worthy of his comrade's weapon. And I wouldn't say no to any help from you either, Sorin. Red on arrival. another one cleared up. I know it's a bit early, and I definitely didn't get as much done as I hoped to do, but I feel I might end it here. Because I am feeling... I'm starting to think I'm feeling rather tired, and I feel I don't feel I'm speaking too clearly at the moment. I feel I'm fumbling a lot. That and the amount I am yawning is... I am feeling very self-conscious about it. I'm a little... I suppose I'm not too far off from my usual finishing time. I feel I'd rather make sure I'm... I've got a full tank of energy for doing more. It's not quite the best weather for it, but still one of my favourite views in the game. Having the Crystal Tower and the Keeper of the Lake. There's another one. So, yeah, I feel I'll finish there for tonight. So, tomorrow's stream, I plan to be Persona 3. What was happening in Persona 3? We just had like the midterm exams. I think we're getting close to kind of close to the next full moon. I don't think we were too close. I think we were still like a week and a bit off, like 12 days or something. Cool. But yeah, I'm expecting the next full moon in Persona 3 is going to be eventful. And I am imagining that yeah, definitely this week is going to have some kind of big story development. I don't know if it'll necessarily be tomorrow. I don't know if we'll get that far. Just depends on, I suppose, how many social link events I'm doing and how much time that takes up. But yeah, otherwise, schedule's up on YouTube as usual for what streams I am doing this week. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I think I need to lie down for a bit. But yeah, so yeah, I will be back tomorrow. And then, yeah, later this week I'll get back to doing the job quests. Because there'll Samurai and Dancer to do, and that'll... Yeah, if I've only got Samurai and Dancer to do, I should then... at least in the same stream, I should at least have time to do all the Gladiator quests for Sorin. To have him start up his new job. But that will probably not be until... probably Friday. But with all that said, thank you so much for coming along. I really hope you enjoyed. And yep, until the next time I see you, have a good evening, have a good night, and until the next stream, goodbye.